So Dr. Zelenko is with us from the hospital, which is just, I believe, 3 days after surgery. Can you please update us, doctor?
Hi, Rabbi Kitson. Thank you so much for having me.
We want to, first of all, I want to say we all daven, pray for you, everybody, the whole world, all your supporters, all your friends, your family. We all daven for Zeib Ben Leah, and I hope that this video will also urge people, first of all, to pray and support your cause. Please.
So, first of all, I really feel, the heart beats on average 100,000 times a day. It's amazing, right? And I feel that, in my case, that it's the people's prayers, literally, that keep my heart beating. And I live with that feeling. And I want to express my soulful gratitude to Klal Yisrael and to the whole world for their positive energy and their wishes. And I have to tell you that it's far from easy, this experience, but knowing that you have the support of so many wonderful fellow human beings. I heard, excuse me, I heard that how do you know if God likes you? You have to look at how the people in the world look at you. And I hope God likes me, but I could tell you that the support, the emotional support that I got from your listeners and people from all around the world is far more than I had ever imagined. And it's with a tremendous appreciation and gratitude, something I'll never forget. Excuse me.
Would you like to update us on the surgery and the state of your health? Because everybody's asking me, can you please tell me? So whatever you feel you should, and whatever you feel you should, but just tell whatever you think is appropriate.
I'll just tell the truth, when they did the surgery, they found that the sarcoma, which is a very rare type of tumor, especially sarcoma in the pulmonary artery, had returned and had attached itself to the heart valve. It's called the pulmonic valve. That's the valve that takes blood, opens the valve that takes blood to the lungs. So from the right side of the heart, blood gets sent to the lungs to get oxygen. And then it goes back to the left side of the heart. And then that blood goes to the body to feed the tissues. So it's a very important artery. And excuse me. And you can't live without it. So I've blessed with really wonderful surgeons who were good, excellent shluchim, emissaries of God, and they were able to cut out the cancer and replace the heart valve. And so, yeah. And then I'm going to have to be on blood thinning medication, probably forever. And I also have a problem on my left hip. There's unfortunately, a sarcoma there, but it's much smaller. And the left hip is easier to reach with radiation. So starting next week, I'm going to have radiation of the hip. But that's nothing compared to what I just went through. And I have to tell you, the first few nights, the pain was really unpleasant and breathing and everything. But now with Hashem, it's like it's a miracle, you know, with every minute, every day, it gets easier and easier to get up out of bed, to walk. I can begin to function like a human being again, you know, just basic hygiene. You know, it's very difficult for someone who's used to being an independent human being, taking care of himself and others, all of a sudden being in a position where, you know, you need someone to dress you or something like that. It's not something comfortable for me. But as I built you know, and the key is, and this is I wanted to share with people, the key is to go with the flow. What I mean by that is that there's only so many things you can control, and the rest is out of your control. So there's a way, you know, we're constantly being bombarded by waves of energy, and depends how you want to react to those waves. You can get knocked over, or you can learn how to navigate those waves in as healthy possible ways, you know, as healthy as possible. And excuse me, my nurse is here. Do you need me?
I'm gonna give you some medicine.
All right, fine. Can I talk though? Do you mind?
Yeah, go for it.
And yeah, so that's what I've tried to adopt. You know, whatever I can, I do try to control, but the rest, I ride this wave of life, that's called, and try to accept things. Sorry. I try to accept things with a smile, you know, and gratitude.
How you do that?
You know, listen, every second of life is a gift, and I keep that it's very much in my mind that, you know, what did I do to deserve to be born? What did I do to deserve this moment in time that I could talk to you, or my wife was here earlier, or my mother was here earlier, or I spoke to my beautiful children. These are such, you know, people say, why me? Why do bad things happen to me? I have another question. Why should good things happen to you? That's you know, that's an equally good question also. And the fact that my nurse agrees with my point. The fact that good things are constantly, the millions and billions of blessings that are surrounding us, that maybe we're not as appreciative or sensitized to as we should. You know, human nature is such that when those things are taken away, only then do we realize. Yeah, I've had a lot of patients, for example, who were, you know, running around, business troubles, headaches, and then one of their children gets leukemia, God forbid. All of a sudden, those business problems are no longer problems. They would wish for those problems, right? So it's all a matter of perspective. Or when you go back a few generations, right? And some of our relatives were being thrown into ovens in Auschwitz, right? And you compare to our lifestyle now and the blessings that we have. I mean, who are we to complain right now? So it's a matter of perspective. That's how you do it.
I can tell you that many people called me, especially about your video before the surgery, and they said they found it so powerful, so moving, and your words really penetrated their heart. So this is
Thank
beautiful. So that is so beautiful, and we can say little full shlema, whatever the medication you took, it should be for your full speedy recovery. We definitely need you to continue lead the fight, and it is evident, like every day we hear more good news about people recognizing and speaking in support of Dr. Zelenko cocktail. That's the only way to go, and it's really so powerful.
So may I share with you an
Please.
idea from this week's Parsha?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So it's Pashas. I believe it's by Chanan, right? Yeah. And it's the second time in the Torah that we read the Ten Commandments. And it's very interesting that the word Torah has the numerical equivalent of 611, which is interesting because we know there's 613 commandments in the Torah. So why would it have the numerical equivalent of 611? So the Talmud says that the first two commandments, mipia gvura omra, that those first two commandments of you should have one God and you should not have other gods besides me, were given from God directly to all the people. The remaining commandments were given by Moses. And so actually, specifically, everything in Torah is precise. There were 611 commandments given by Moses. So that's interesting. We have to understand what is the role of Moshe, I prefer to say Moshe Rabbeinu, in our lives. And I saw an interesting Hasidic discourse from the Rabbi Shalom Dov Ber Schneerson, the fifth Lubavitcher Rebbe, which explained an absolutely beautiful idea. That he says between any two levels, regardless if it's physical or spiritual, there is a system of bridges or a missing link of sorts where it connects the lower level with the upper level. And that those two, those intermediaries are absolute requirements to enable to climb from one level to another. So he goes through the following analysis. So what is the intermediary, the bridge between an inanimate object, a mineral, and that of which grows? Tzemeach. What's the damim and tzemeach? What is the bridge between the mineral and vegetative? So one of the ideas is crystals. Why? Because crystals, they're a mineral, and yet they have a certain unique property of growth. That's cute. And then he says, what is the intermediary between the tzemeach, the thing that grows, and a chai, an animal? What's it between like a plant and an animal? So he says, he quotes from Mishnayos in the 11th chapter of Kalayim. Says there was a little creature. His name was Adon Hasadeh, and from his belly button grew out a cord, and he was like a dog on a leash. He grew from the ground. He was tethered to the ground, but he went around eating things. Now, I've never seen him, but I did see a Venus flytrap, which I think is a bit more relevant, where it's a plant that literally eats stuff, right? Yeah. And then he says, okay, and what is the intermediary between the animal, the chai, and the medaber, the speaking person, the human being? So he says it's a kaif, a monkey. Okay. And then what is, there's what is a human being? A human being has some degree of self-awareness, consciousness. They found, now I don't know why you would want to do this, but if you take a certain monkey, I think it's a Mackay monkey, and you put lipstick on this monkey and you show him a mirror, he doesn't like it and he wipes it off. I don't know why you would want to do that, but nevertheless, you see that the monkey actually has some degree of self-awareness. I'm getting to a point here in a minute, you see, but it's cute. Okay, so what is the intermediary between a medaber, a human being, and God? So that is something, a very strange creature. It's called a Jew. Now, that is not a statement of arrogance. It's actually a statement of responsibility. And what I mean by that is that the Jew has been tasked with the responsibility of bringing the knowledge of the Creator into the creation. So our job as being ambassadors of the Creator is to live in a sanctified way that sanctifies the name of that Creator in the world. That's why it's so important that we live in a way that exudes a holiness, that when people look at us, that they see that we possess a soulful tranquility and wisdom that they themselves will want to benefit from, because every human being is looking for some degree of order and peace in this crazy world. And it's only really the Torah law which creates a sense of order and a universal code of right and wrong that is able to establish on credible grounds. Torah transcends time and space. So as such, when you have a law that is transcendental, that is not limited by the limitations of the world, and is relevant in every time and in every generation, what that does, it brings reassurance, confidence, peace, love, and goodness, healing into the world. Okay. Now, what is the intermediary between a Jew and God? That's a hard one, you see, because there is none. It's a local funcle. However, we see a historical contradiction to what I just said. That it says at the giving of the Torah, the whole Dibur b'Dibur Pircha Nishmasim. It's a statement from the Zohar that with every word that God spoke, because if you remember, the first two commandments were given mipia gavura. Hashem himself spoke. With every word that Hashem uttered, they all died. That Dinimi?
I'm just gonna check your ultrasound for I have to add things.
Okay.
You talk, you do.
All right. Thank you. I multitask. So it says that with every utterance, their souls took flight. They couldn't take the intensity of the revelation of the light. Their finite vessels, their finite capacity was blown away. And Hashem, what he did was, he was a mechaya mesim with the towel, with the dew of Torah. So after the Yidden saw that they were Hashem was playing ping pong with their souls, so they came to Moshe Rabbeinu, and they said, listen, you're Ish Elokim. You're a godly man. Half man, half God, the Medrash says. How about you give it to us? We see you could take it, and you get it, and you transmit it and teach it to us. That's what it means. Hashem, that they believed in Hashem and in Moses, his servant. But this is a very dangerous idea. It's a very delicate idea. Let me explain. That human beings must be trained to connect to the Creator on their own. And anytime there's any codependency, it could lead to a cult-like mentality. It's a very fine line between healthy spirituality and being a member of a cult. So there are two types of leaders. There's one leader who likes to connect the person to himself. That's a type of leader you don't want to deal with. That's someone that you need to stay away from. But the Moshe Rabbeinu we believed in, his biggest pleasure was to get himself out of the way so that his followers would be independent servants of the Creator. It's a very delicate line. It's an idea that needs to be thought about very carefully. But ultimately, since we live in a world of darkness, the only way that we as simple people can connect is l'daf kabay. We have to cling to the Talmidei Chachamim. We have to cling to the wise sages of this generation in order that we could be privy to their study and to their wisdom, and we could learn on our how to serve God properly without the aid of a crutch. But in the early stages of development, everyone needs a model, a role model, a mentor to guide you in the development of healthy spirituality.
Unbelievable. And this is what the rabbis say, Aseh lecho rav. And there is no way around it. That's number one. Do you have a rabbi? Do you have someone to emulate us? Do you have someone to learn from? It's a relationship between the rabbi and the Talmud that creates this bond and creates this healthy growth of a human being. So we're so all inspired, and I have to tell you that once again that we all daven for you. And I wish you a full refuah shlema b'mheira b'yameinu mamash imritz Hashem. And we should share many simchas, and we'll continue.